Alright, Grand Rising, it's Shay Seeking or Shalonda back with another video. Again, this is Not Your Mama's Bible Study. And I'm never here to tell you what it is or what it ain't. I'm simply sharing what it looks like to me. So I want to go back to 15 real quick. And it says here that Jesus said, are ye also yet without understanding? Apologies. All right. Do not yet understand that whatsoever enter into the mouth go into the belly and is cast into the draught. It's almost like this energy is saying whatever you say, out loud goes into you and it kind of consumes you and makes it happen, or it makes it like, like the way you talk to yourself. It's kind of like on a spiritual level is what I'm getting from this. This is the only thing I can pull from this, right? Okay. Goes in the belly and is cast into the draught. But those things which proceedeth out of the mouth, right? So whatever you speaketh, right? Or manifest even, come forth from the heart, right? And they defile the man. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murders, adultery, fornication, thefts, false witnesses, and blasphemies. These things are which defile a man. Right? Okay, these things defile a man. So I don't know about if anybody's worried about blaspheming against God or man. I don't know. Right? But to eat with unwashed hands. Right? So it's kind of like unclean hands. Like with your hands got blood on them. You see what I'm saying? Is what kind of what this is giving me. Okay? Defileth not a man. Right? So this is the thing, why people would probably trying to secret record you to kind of show one side of you, right? When again, usually when people go on a platform, they are pulling themselves together and putting on, they're putting on a certain face to deliver you a message on their platform, hopefully kind of professionally, or you know what I'm saying, just presenting it to the public. That's what I do. That's not me, right? So again, at this point in time, maybe at one point in time, you know what I'm saying, if your hands are not clean, but right now, again, I feel like I'm dealing with clean hands. I've always dealt with, because I don't steal and I don't murder and I don't, take things from people that don't belong to me. And I'm not expecting anything but what does belong to me. It just happens that it may be a lot. Sit. Okay? So again, if they can say, oh, well, look what you do, or look what you do, look what you do, look what you do. You know what I'm saying? That means then how can you judge or how can you say something? But again, I mean, it is, even though this judgment card is standing here, it doesn't mean, like I said, when I say something like, when people say, well, how could you accept, transgenderism in general? How, you know what I'm saying? How could you accept, whatever they call same-sex marriage or whatever, right? The perception that we're getting of it. And it's not really that I am for or against it. It's just, I feel like that is for them in the higher source that they're connected to worry about. But when it comes to speaking, I feel a protector of the lands, right? I feel like in general, if there is an agenda being pushed by this, meaning that someone is trying to change the shape and scope of things naturally, then I will have something to say about that. If you want to replace something that is not what you would consider to be natural with something that is I won't even say abnormal, because that might, hurt, but something that is not. That is just like, again, out of all due respect, calling someone who was born a male and now is considers themselves to be a female, right? If we're going to be calling a woman, then there needs to be, you can be what you want to be, but you can't be a woman, because again, you were not born a woman. And I think that's where the thing comes in, because when you do that, then you're defiling that which is the womb or the woman. and you're trying to replace her with something else, and that puts the woman, that degrades her even more and makes her less worthy of just even that title in general. So it's not to say that you can't be what you want to be when you're an adult and you choose to do that. What it does say to me is that you can't be that. There would have to be another category where these people would be listed as what they are. It's almost the same thing as, I think of this whole thing as America, from Canada all the way down to the islands, right? And all around. That means you're American, right? Now, that may make somebody that comes from Africa an African American when they come here, but people that are born and bred and of the American descent should not be called African American. That's a misnomer for them, because that's not what they are. Nor should they be called slaves, because again, they are prisoners of war. That's when someone comes into a place and does whatever they do to colonize or to invade, and then they take those particular people and put them into a form of servitude or a form of under some kind of control. That is a prisoner of war. So again, if we could get this right, your ancestors, they may, because the education system has taught us that it was slavery, but when you look at the details and you break it down, it was really a sense of prisoners of war. And again, maybe that's why you're not getting any kind of reparations or benefits from that, because you're considering yourself as slaves when you were prisoners of war. And usually prisoners of war do get some type of compensation. But before you realize that, again, you have people selling you on just join this nation and do this, right? These people may not be legit, even real Americans, right? Even though they may have lineage that ties to that, what I'm saying is they're under the guise of their father or the wings of their fathers, which are foreign fathers. So when it says here that Jesus said, anything that wasn't planted by my father, but then again, it's just like planted. Well, again, we know that when you're talking about indigenous and all those things, that's organically grown. That's just that which is there. Even when we're talking about indigenous and we go into native, it's of the offspring of the earth. So that is something that was a subgroup from the people that were here when the breeding was going on, which was mainly what so-called slavery was about. Certain portions of it. It was about breeding. Papa was a rolling stone. There were studs or bucks, and they went from place to place, right? So a lot of this wasn't even, so even that is just a whole thing to look at that from the root of things as to why the family is the way it is now and why men operate the way that they do now. Because it's something that was bred into them. So again, was not planted by the father. So it would be important to know who we're considering the father. So even like, say we're talking about like founding fathers or forefathers or just a father in general would be the person that is in the house. The first lady and would be the mothering energy, right? And then the father would be, But again, it says don't go against your mother and father. But again, if the mother and father are allowing something corrupt to happen, then that means that is something else. We're dealing with something else. And again, it's dealing with also cultures, lineage, and also the fact that, again, it's the same thing because these are the children of the people that came and colonized. Even though all of them didn't deal harshly, it was still the name of the game. So those children of them that led these other portions of lives and went off into positions of power and stuff like that were not the organic people here. It was more than likely a offspring of that of the earth or the soil and the water, the maritime energy, the sovereign energy, and then the maritime energy. And then it just so happens that most of the time, I feel like the people that were the matriarchs of the society went into the house with that particular slave master or lord. You get what I'm saying? So again, it says the Pharisees also and the Sadducees. So I want to just look at this real quick, right? again, kosher is talking about something that's fit or pure. Okay. So again, kosher is ritually fit or pure, clean, lawful. So again, we put law in there. So again, if law means lie, then again, does that now then mean that that's kosher if it's something that is lawful? Or is that just the way that, again, man had found a way to enter his bills and laws and these things like this in when we were dealing with the commandments to keep it simple and keep it clean? So again, it says of the Talmud, especially of food. Okay, so again, also when we're talking about like that leavened bread and unleavened bread, or even just that whole thing of, yeah, we can make bread, but there's some people that can really make bread, meaning they can mix something and they add these salts. Again, thinking of the salt of the earth, even, right, to the loaves in order to make them, right? Just like now, I'm dealing with that living energy from the Holy Spirit or the Ruach. It's putting something into the bread, right? That's going to be bringing it to another, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be bringing it to another level. There's going to be a different flavor to it, a different something, right? Okay. Don't come in front of the camera. Okay. So again, no. Fit, proper, or lawful. Okay. Was suitable or proper. Something suitable. So again, that's like something in the likeness of. That is making me think of idolatry. When we talk about women, and we know that women can mean men, women, and children at some point in time during history, right? And that we can also know that this also represented groups of people that were came in as Slavs, right? That energy, right? Foreign energy, right? Or we're talking about domestic women that were what the men of the sea, right? The sea men came to plant their seeds in order to create a nation. So again, you know, like that's what I'm saying. If we could look at it that way. So that's the whole thing about the whole, like even with that zombie card that we just looked at, is the whole thing of the dirt, the soil, the slime, and everything mixed up. So again, your antibodies with the antidote. Do you see what I'm saying? So whose antibodies were they using? Who was more susceptible to so-called die from this, even though we know that wasn't the case all the time. We know that there was a situation when people were having it put on their death certificate when they passed away from other things. Especially in places like Chicago, which people talk about black market and these kind of things. Kanika Jenkins, that energy. So what are we really talking about? Right? So conforming to dietary laws and proper or legitimate food that fills the requirement of Jewish dietary law. Jewish. Just like Israel is different than the Israelites. It is a diluted version, which is probably going to be lighter in a sense. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where the native energy comes in. That doesn't mean that they don't belong here. Mm-mm.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I told you no. Okay? Okay, so it's going back to Hebrew, kasher, which makes me think of Jasher for some reason. But anyways, that's what this is talking about. Okay, so let's look at what it's saying about the Pharisees. Okay? The Pharisees is a member of an ancient Jewish. I wonder if this has something to do with the Jesuit energy. Distinguished by strict observance, but regarded as pretentious and self-righteous. Do you see what I'm saying? Because again, nobody wants you to know yourself. They don't want you to count on yourself. Especially even when it comes to low-income neighborhoods, you're usually counting on the man. And some people will stay on it for 20 years and things like that. You're counting on them. If we allow them to bring some of these things in when it comes to assistance to the people, such as free this and free that, we need to make sure we check in the codes and everything that go along with that, because it sounds like a good thing, right? It sounds like a good thing. But again, does that create a dependency? Same thing. I look at it even as like being in a marriage for a long time, and being an at-home mom, right? That's and not having to really work for anything, right? Like do really serious work, having to have like a whole full-time job, right? That's also a sense of dependency. And again, that is another sense of dependency that leaves a woman in a situation when she needs to go and she can't, right? So it's just that, and it's not just only the fault of the system. They could do better, but also again, in a sense, it comes to a realization. Then you maybe you don't have to be better because that's the agreement that you came up with when it came to the structure of your family. But at some point in time, now you might wish that you had pushed a little bit harder, or again, now you know that you have to, so you got to do what you got to do. You see what I'm saying? But it's nobody's real fault. But then we can realize some of these things, that most of that stuff was built to harm you. Actually, it seems like it's something that was going to help you, but actually it gave people a sense of relying on that. And now look at the situation. Now they want to get rid of Americans, right? So-called ADOS Americans, and bring in people from other places. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to what we're talking about. Who's coming in here? What positions are they what are they going to school for? What jobs are they now lining up for? How do they get along with the original Americans? Is it a distasteful something in their mouth about the Americans when they come here and see how some people operate, because they don't realize all of the things. They think they know, but they have no idea because they weren't born and bred here. And they come here, want to work because they're hungry. You do too, but you just know your worth to a certain extent. So we're expecting something else. We know that, again, there's a debt almost in a sense to be paid to you. That if we talk about this debt ceiling, that is talking about other people. And then it's also, what women are, when we read that definition, what part of woman, right, will that stop from reaching to a certain level? Is that talking about the American ADOS Negro, or the ADOS energy, right? Because it just always keeps bringing back to Ham was a progenitor of the races, the darker races, but not the Negro. Because if we look at Negro, later on, Negro was really pertaining to lighter skinned people that were also coming in from different people. Even colored was used for that. I have a whole magazines and stuff that are original printouts of magazines and things from the 1800s, and the people were lighter skinned people with finer hair and things like that. That's what the Negro was. So it's important to know that. So if we're using that term today, really at one point in time in the 1800s especially, it was pertaining to other people that were other women, right? Because again, women were already voting, right? So why would they be fighting for women's votes? So we must have been either women that were like a woman, right? Okay, a girl or whatever, was already voting, right? And they were trying to get voting rights for women, meaning the people that were coming in, right? So again, if we're having people coming here and after 2 years they've only been in the Americas and they're getting positions of power and into positions of power, that's a problem. Because why not train the people that you already have here in order to do the job just like any other job would do, and give them a couple dollars raise or whatever? Why go out of the way to bring more people into another place? So that makes me think again that militias are being built. Certain forms of military are being built, especially when it comes to the South. Because what did it say? I'll tell the South not to hold back, right? And the North to give them up. So again, is America or the United States only the bottom portion of the land now, and the top portion is sold off to another, you know what I'm saying? Because we're talking civil war. Is that what we're talking about? I don't know. Okay? So again, these Pharisees, right? And it's talking about Aramaic, Semitic, okay, separatists, right? Corresponding to Hebrew parish, which makes me think about parish. It's rush, right? Makes me think about a parish, like parish. From parash, he's separated. Wow. Extended meaning any self-righteous person a formalist, a hypocrite, a scrupulous, ostentatious, ostentatious observer of the outward form of religion without regard of the inward spirit. Wow. But we got regard of the inward spirit. That's us. That's me. Okay. And so again, in my eyes, for me. Okay. So again, self-righteous or sensitimous person, a member of ancient Jewish sect noted for strict obedience of Jewish tradition, right? So again, strict obedience to Jewish tradition. So again, when they say black mean dead in law, you know what I'm saying? Are we talking about why isn't it a member of ancient Jewish? Well, yeah. So again, this makes me think about man then also embracing the law and putting it above the law of God. Because we know that people in positions of power sometimes can abuse that power and actually do the same things that it says not to do with the commandments. So really they lean more on their law and their lie, which it means in etymology, right? Then could this be why somebody is winning and again, the children never do? Or is it really a punishment? Or are you punished because you don't really observe and look at their law or their lie? But most of you, when you're in a decent situation, you will abide by the things of the commandments, right? It's just something that's naturally already in you, right? It was at some point. Even if when we were thinking that it was talking about your initial mother and father from your family. Even when you would think that there was a certain respect that we've always had that is getting lost again within this so-called generation. But maybe it's because the children see that something ain't right. Okay? So again, it's in the Sadducees. Let's just look at that so we can just get it out of the way. Okay, Chaos. Now again, this Zadok, I think this Zadok was in, the Keeper in the Gospel we were just reading at, right? I think that was one of the kings, Zadok. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was. Okay. Yeah, so it says Zadok, which makes me think about Madoc or something too, which I think is some of the first peoples that came over here like 1,000 in the year 1000 or something. I don't know. So it says 2 Samuel 8:17, the high priest, or again priestess, possibly, right? From whom the priesthood of the captivity claimed descent, right? So again, this is somebody, a high priest, from whom the priesthood of the captivity claimed descent. According to Josephus, the sect denied the resurrection of the dead and the existence of angels and spirits, but later historians regard them as more the political party of the priestly class than the sect per Sadducean. So again, Saracens is what I was thinking. Okay, so again, this sounds kind of tricky right here. All right, resurrection of the dead and the existence of angels and spirits. Again, that's what we're talking about. Most of us are saying we're dealing with the angels, ancestors, and guides. Nobody really want to hear that, but they are kind of interested in it. But since they don't understand it, it scares them, and that's when the whole witch hunt kind of energy comes out. Okay, not knowing that this is all talking about it right here in the biblical text. Same thing with the tarot cards. It's spoken of in the Torah. And Ezekiel too, when Ezekiel's wheel is just the wheel of fortune. All right, and we did a video on that if you wanted to go back and check on that. Okay. So again, it says here, where are we at? Oh, let's see what it says in WordNet. A member of an ancient Jewish, again, that's the Jewish, right? Sect around the time of Jesus, opposed to the Pharisees. Okay, so again, opposed to the Pharisees, right? But again, they're both Jewish sects. Okay? But it seems that Sadducees, you know what I'm saying, is representing, I guess, that which is, of the dead or whatever, and angels, and talking about more of a spiritual presence, right? So it says one day the Pharisees and Sadducees, and again, see, right? Fair kind of makes me think about Pharaoh, right? And then it says I see. Fair I see, right? Kind of strange there, okay? And then sad, okay, you see. Yes? Oh, okay. So then, is there any way to cancel it then? Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Just eat the damn donut, Brie. Okay? Just eat it. Wait, Magadon. Okay. Anyways, so let's finish here. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm in a frustrated mode, I think, right now. Okay. So again, they came to test Jesus' claim of being the Messiah by asking him to show them some great demonstrations in the skies. He replied, "You are good at reading the weather signs and the skies," right? So again, this weather could be representing, let's see, okay, that of the wind. Okay, High German. Okay, let's see, storm, Old Church, to blow. Slavic, cognate. Let's see, such pronunciations may be older. Greek, a good weather, a storm, time, weather. Irish, something. Okay, let me see. I'm really not getting anything here. Come through safely. So again, kind of like weathering the storm, or walking on water, or going through the waves, or whatever, right? And I don't know, like I can sit here and look at this too and say, like I said, it seems like some of these speakers or whatever that are in certain positions, like who taught them, what they're to say, because a lot of them say more worse things than I do, and I feel like they may be in the public eye too. So who taught them how to navigate where I just pour out everything I have in my one platform because I have nothing to hide, right? So again, come through safely. And my thing is, they can't touch this. And so that's what I'm saying. So you could try to block me out from whatever you want to block me out from. I'm still going to be what I am and who I am. A sense of wear, away by exposure. So again, to wear something away by exposure. Okay. Face and withstand with courage. Okay. Cause to slope, sail, change under the action of influence or weather. See, and that's what I'm saying. So again, some people can be bought and paid for. Some people can be bought out. Some people can want, certain gifts or whatever. And that's what another thing when it was coming to that energy of Jesus and the woman. During this whole thing right here, I ain't never asked like really for nothing but, you know what I'm saying, companionship, and then also what is due to me. And that's just it. And then even if you don't want to just hand it to me, show me how to get it. Don't, watch me and observe me so that you can take it from me, or that you can block it from coming to me. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is let me go. So it's kind of like the, energy of wrestling with God. And then which God? Is that the government? And it's saying, I'm not letting you go until you bless me. So we're going to keep on talking about the Bagram on the B Graham airport. And we're going to keep on talking about this whole thing. And I don't care if they tired or not. So again, the whole thing about tired of hearing the woman. So again, in what instance or what type of woman are we talking about? Or are we talking about an adulterous woman that is always got her hand out for something more and more and more, right? So again, spiritually, I'm always looking for something more. But I'm talking about, again, someone who is actually getting, because when it comes to idols, notice that people cast in and pitch in gold and different things like that to build it up, right? So again, maybe there is some things, like I said, that may be behind the scenes. But again, I feel like, again, it has to do with women that are, like I said, having their hand out for something. And again, my thing is I extend my heart out and people keep on trying to tear it apart. And that's why I know it's not organic. What's going on? I know that this is some kind of attack. Period. Okay? So again, he replies in good. Okay, and the signs of the sky are red sky tonight means fair weather tomorrow. The red sky in the morning means foul weather all day. But you can read the obvious signs of the times. The evil, unbelieving nation is asking for some strange sign in the heavens, but no further proof will be given except the miracle that happened to Jonah. Then Jesus walked out on them arriving across the lake, and the disciples discovered that they had forgotten to bring any food. Watch out, Jesus warned them. Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Again, this and you know what? That does make me think. So even it just makes me say, and I think that's why some of us have those gifts ourselves, right? Because you can't just also just take in everything that everybody is saying. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time, it can, start to, eat at you. And that's why I say it's a dangerous game sometimes that some people are playing when it comes to this kind of energy. And are they doing it for the right reasons, toward the right things, or are they doing it for, again, only financial gain? And that's just my only thing. Nobody is talking against finances. I'm just saying, whenever it turns to a point when they're being used for negative, then again, it just is what it is. So again, only you know your heart, only know where you know where you're coming from. And again, nobody's saying do nothing for free. I'm just saying make sure we're not doing things, and that's just in general with everybody, just for the money. That's why so many people are unhappy anyways right now. And they don't understand how somebody that doesn't, work or always shop or always want this and that is able to achieve a certain level of something. So I'm just saying, it's just, there's a balance there. If you let that consume you, that's just what's going to happen. So again, they're saying beware of the added stuff of the Pharisees and Sadducees, okay? Which is true. They thought he was saying this because they had forgotten to bring bread. Jesus knew, what they were thinking, and told them, "O men of little faith," right? "Why are you so worried about having no food? Won't you ever understand? Don't you remember that all the 5,000 I fed with the 5 loaves and the basket full left over? Don't you remember the 4,000 I fed, all that was left? How could you even think I was talking about food?" Wow. So it even says here, how can you even think that I was talking about food? So again, I think the food is, like I said, having to do with something about some kind of word or something, or some kind of message, right? But again, I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Then at last, they understood that by yeast, he meant the wrong teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Okay, and I believe that as well. But again, to single it out as if these are people that are singled. Okay. All right, let me hurry up because people keep coming over here and disturbing me. Okay. All right. So again, it says something about food, right? Okay. So I mean, this made me look at something a little bit different though too, right? All right. When Jesus came to Caesarea, which I don't know, is making me think about Sarah, Philippi, I don't know. He asked the disciples, who are people, saying, "I, asterisk, right, Son of Man, am," let's see, no, we're not at 21 yet. So yeah, it says, "I literally the Son of Man." Okay, so it says, asked his disciples, who are the people, saying, "I am," question mark, right? Who are the people saying, "I am"? Let's see. Well, they replied, some say John the Baptist or Baptiste, okay? Which is making me think about a parish, right? Which is making me think about, again, some things that I ran into when it came to parishes. I wonder if there was even a Bruton Parish. I don't know. It was something that came up about that made me think about something like alongside. I think it was on like a census or something like that. I don't know. Right? So it says some Elijah. So again, we're talking about Elijah and Esther in this book. There's a lot of energy of Elijah here. Right? Again, I feel like anyways, those last names and stuff like that, sometimes I see, names of other people, what I'm saying, alongside family members, not to say that they are the same family, but I'm saying when it came to different documents and different lists and different things, like certain names on like the census and stuff like that, right? Okay, and it says some Jeremiah, okay? And it says or one of the other prophets. Okay? And it says, then he asked them, who do you think I am? Okay? And Simon and Peter answered, the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God, the descendant of the living God. God has blessed you, Simon, son of Jonah. Okay? Jesus said, for my Father in heaven has personally revealed this to you. This is not from any human source. You are Peter, a stone. And upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever doors you lock on earth shall be locked in heaven. Whatever doors you open on earth shall be open in heaven. As above, so below. And it's going to mean it. But it also makes me think about a connect of, like, you know, the connection that I feel of as a collective nature of things, right? Where I feel like that is something that's naturally happening on a certain level. But I also think that, again, human or man has also, you know, used. Go. Because again, they won't have access to this type of information, so it's kind of like a lab energy or an observant energy. That's all, right? So again, but the seed for what? So they can maneuver things around and change things and play God. And that's my thing. If you can hide God from God, and if you can hide the voice of God, or the vessel that voice that is hosting that energy, or the living God, then again, you have control. You can control the narrative, and you can do whatever you want to do. Even ban the energy. But it's not, that's what I'm saying. It's not anything that can be contained or held. That's what it is. Then he warned the disciples against telling others that he was the Messiah. So then Jesus said, he warned them against, he warned against telling people that he was the Messiah. So again, that is an energy like of what? Is he not the Messiah? Or did he just not want people to know that he was the Messiah? Or again, what is this energy? Are we dealing with scapegoat energy here? I don't know. It says, from then on, Jesus began to speak plainly to his disciples about going to Jerusalem and what would happen to him there, that he would suffer at the hands of the Jewish leaders. That he would be killed, and that 3 days later he would be raised to life again. The 3 days could also be 3 years. And I think that again, how long, how long was Trump in? I think it was 4, right? But then Biden been in for like, I don't know how long. I don't know, y'all. How long he been in there? 1, 2 years maybe? I don't know. Okay, after he would be raised again to life. But Peter took him aside and remonstrate with him. Okay, heaven forbid, sir, he said, this is not going to happen to you. It says Jesus turned on Peter and said, now it's funny that they use this term, that Jesus turned on Peter and said, get away from me, you Satan. You are a dangerous trap for me. You are thinking merely from a human point of view and not from God's. Then Jesus said to the disciples, if anyone wants to be a follower of mine, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. And that's what I fell asleep with, taking up the cross on my mind. because it makes me think, are we talking about physically? Are we talking about mentally? You know, again, for me, the cross is symbolic even of energy that I'm around, but again, it's the energy that I feel like, you know, is that there is supposed to be some kind of movement or some kind of going in another direction, right? Which it makes me feel like, you know, like, no, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I want to figure out what it is, and I don't want to die on the cross. Of course, right? I mean, I know the cross also could mean something else, but for me, symbolic and with the signs and symbols that my ancestors and guides are showing me, it means something more personal for me. Okay? All right? So again, take up his cross and follow me. Okay? And it says, for anyone who keeps his life for himself shall lose it, and anyone who loses his life for me shall find it again. What profit is there if you gain the whole world, right? So that makes me think about even the world card, right? And lose eternal life, okay? So again, I don't know. I mean, that's you know, that's kind of deep or whatever. And matter of fact, I was just thinking about that scripture, that verse, okay? And it says, what can be compared with the value of eternal life? For I, the Son of Mankind, that's something that's kind of like a man or mankind, right? And this is just a descendant, right? This is a descendant of mankind. So again, is that giving us some energy of foreign energy, right? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Or some kind of altered energy, right? It says, shall come with my angels in glory of my Father and judge each person according to his deeds, right? So again, the angels also represent, you know, soldiers, or, you know, again, if that's what they remind me, messengers, you know, soldiers and stuff like that, right? So again, mankind shall come my angels in the glory of my Father and judge each person according to his deeds. So again, this kind of brings me back into that energy of the conversation between Jesus in 15 when it said, I'm almost done, y'all. When it says something about like everything that wasn't planted by my Father is going to be removed. So again, that's what makes me think of that. And so again, it makes me think about the Americans left behind the enemy lines, right? And is that what is that what it was all about in the whole time? And some of you stand right here now, certainly live to see me coming in my kingdom. Okay? So again, right? So, wait, there was one thing I did want to look up. Let's see. Mankind, angels, glory, person according to these, and for standing here right now, certainly see me coming. Okay, so again, wait a minute, let me see. There was a word here that I did want to look up. I guess not. I know there was one, but I don't remember now. So again, yeah, so wait, he warned against though calling him the Messiah. So I don't see why people still call Jesus the Messiah. You know, and or why he would have wanted to, he or she would have wanted to, like, and I think we're talking about a masculine energy here, but want to cover that up. Let's see what it says over here. Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar Jonah. Jonah, with a Jona. For flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee. So again, this is what I'm saying. With flesh and blood didn't reveal it unto me, but my Father in heaven. So again, that's something else. That's something else. Even that energy of saying that Father in heaven is that, again, that energy of the vassal having the Father resting in as the living God. You know what I'm saying? And then again, people want to see some kind of documentation, or somebody want to see your genealogy and things like that, and they don't understand how we're seeing these things and bringing these things forth that are unseen, you know. So like I said, that's dealing with like the Father that's in heaven, and then it's also then dealing with, you know, flesh and blood, right? So again, even when we're talking about your genealogy and stuff like that, right? Okay. And so it's kind of like something that's just already in me, you know what I'm saying? And I can kind of verify things, and then it helps me, you know what I'm saying, trust my intuition and trust what I'm saying or whatever. But at the same time, it's just something that I just know. And that's dealing with Gnosticism. I just feel like that's what we're dealing with. Okay? All right. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Okay, so again, I don't know. It's almost making me think about like a rock or a barren kind of pineal energy, you know, like I said, you know, I don't know. It's almost like this is an untouchable energy here. Okay, and I will give it unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on the earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on the earth shall be loosed in heaven. So again, this makes me think about the energy of, if you keep on, like even we were talking about this in the text the other day, of the attacks that kept on happening on Israel, and it was saying enough is enough, right? So again, in that sense, like if you want to go ahead and you want to do surveillance over here, then we're going to go ahead and surveil you. See, because some people think that because you got some kind of status or something and you moved up on the ladder, that doesn't affect you. And I've been told y'all, at the end of the day, we all here right now. So again, what can happen to me, that injustice, the same thing can happen to you. So me screaming out the whole thing of leading the people into a burning building, you know what I'm saying? It makes me think about the whole energy of people going back to the South. Is that a burning building? Is this whole thing just a burning building? Do you see what I'm saying? And that just makes me think about that. Like, that makes me think about, like, again, whatever is happening on earth, you know what I'm saying, it's time for that to happen in heaven. Because then if that happens, then we'll be able to get justice. We can balance the scales, and you can see how it feels. And I think that's what some people want, because, again, I look at myself as, again, of the heavens and earth, right? So anyways, y'all, that's it. That's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and just, like, really take in what we just read here. And go from there later on. But right now, I just got to kind of gather myself or whatever a little bit, and then we'll come back. All right? So, again, take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe if you like, and join us in the Facebook group. Bye.